this video is about. She walked into the night market, and a billionaire made her laugh. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The vibrant lights of the night market danced in the air like fireflies, casting a warm glow over the cobblestone paths that wound through the stalls. Each booth was an explosion of color and aroma, filled with everything from fragrant street food simmering in bubbling pots to handcrafted jewelry glinting under strings of fairy lights. The atmosphere buzzed, alive with laughter, music, and the clinking of glasses as patrons enjoyed the simple pleasures of life. Myra stepped into this lively chaos, her senses overwhelmed by the mingling scents of roasted chestnuts and sweet pastries. She had been drawn to the market like a moth to a flame, seeking solace in the noise after a long week filled with the suffocating silence of her empty apartment. The night had promised escape, and she was determined to embrace every second of it. Myra was neither glamorous nor striking. Instead, she wore her practicality like an old coat, comfortable and well-loved. Her thick, dark hair was hastily tied back, and her denim jacket bore the frayed edges of countless adventures. Yet there was something magnetic about her. Perhaps it was the twinkle in her deep brown eyes, or the way she carried a quiet resilience that spoke volumes about her past. As she maneuvered through the throngs, laughter erupted nearby, drawing her attention to a small group huddled around a balloon artist. The man was in the midst of creating a giraffe out of twisting balloons, his hands deftly coaxing life into the colorful rubber. The crowd gasped and cheered each time he added a flourish, their joy palpable. "Look, Myra," a voice chirped at her side. It was Jenna, her college friend and perpetual optimist, who had convinced Myra to join her tonight. Jenna's blonde curls bounced as she pointed eagerly at the artist. "We have to get a balloon. I called dibs on the giraffe." Myra laughed, the sound carrying a weight of warmth and familiarity. "You'd look just lovely carrying that around." "Not for me, silly, for you." Jenna nudged her playfully, her blue eyes sparkling with mischief. "You need a little whimsy in your life." Just then, a voice cut through the laughter, a deep baritone that commanded attention. "Or perhaps she needs a little adventure instead." Myra turned, her heart quickening slightly as she faced the source of the voice. He was tall, impeccably dressed in a crisp navy blazer that contrasted starkly with the warmth of the market. The man's dark hair was tousled just enough to appear casual, and his sharp jawline hinted at a confidence that was both intimidating and alluring. "Excuse me," Myra asked, her brow furrowing slightly. "You know," he continued, a teasing lilt in his tone, "a balloon giraffe is hardly a thrilling accessory. She needs something that screams excitement. A dragon, perhaps." His eyes sparkled with a playful challenge. Jenna giggled, nudging Myra again. "See, he's got a point." Myra couldn't help but smile at the stranger's audacity. "And how exactly would you propose I take a dragon for a stroll?" "Simple," he replied, leaning slightly closer, his presence magnetic. "You just have to find the right one. I happen to know a few places that offer rather interesting experiences." "Does it involve balloon animals?" Myra shot back, a teasing glint in her eyes. "Only if you're afraid of heights," he quipped, his smile widening, revealing a warmth that contrasted with his polished appearance. "I'm Caleb, by the way." "Myra," she said, extending her hand. His grip was firm yet gentle, sending a curious jolt through her. "Pleasure to meet you, Myra." His eyes held hers for a moment longer than necessary, an electric connection that startled her. "So, what brings you to the market? Seeking whimsy or adventure?" "Maybe a little of both," she replied, her heart racing slightly. "Or maybe just a good cinnamon roll." "Ah, a woman of refined taste. We should remedy that immediately," Caleb said, his demeanor shifting as he gestured toward one of the booths overflowing with pastries. Allow me to treat you. Myra hesitated for a moment, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her mind. There was something inexplicably intriguing about him. A billionaire, no doubt, given the confidence and style that dripped from him. But she was wary. Still, the night was buzzing with promise, and she felt the urge to seize the moment. "All right," she said, her voice steadying. "But only if you tell me about one of those interesting experiences of yours. I'm curious." Caleb chuckled, a rich sound that tugged at her heart. "Deal, but first cinnamon rolls await." As they made their way to the booth, Jenna followed, a conspiratorial grin on her face. "You two have fun," she said, her voice sing-song. "I'm going to get that giraffe." With a playful eye roll, Myra watched Jenna disappear into the crowd, then turned to Caleb. "So, what's so interesting about your life that you can offer adventures?" Caleb leaned against the booth as they approached the counter, his posture relaxed but his gaze intent. "Let's just say I don't believe in traditional boundaries. I've explored everything from high-stakes poker games in underground casinos to diving in the Great Barrier Reef. Life is too short to play it safe." Myra raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Is that how you got into the balloon business?" "Only the best for my adventures," he replied with a smirk. "But really, life keeps throwing opportunities at me and I've learned to seize them. What about you? What's your story?" Myra's breath hitched for a moment. She was not used to sharing herself with strangers, especially ones who seemed to glide through life so effortlessly. "I'm a freelance graphic designer," she finally said. "Not quite as adventurous as a billionaire. But you still create. That's an adventure in itself. Don't underestimate the power of art," he countered, genuine interest flickering in his eyes. "There's beauty in what you do, drawing from your experiences." "Thanks, I suppose," she said softly, her defenses slightly lowered. "But I find more adventure in the stories I illustrate than in my actual life." Caleb studied her for a moment, tilting his head. "Then why not change that? You have an entire world waiting for you outside your comfort zone." Myra couldn't help but feel a flush of warmth at his encouragement, though she felt a hint of skepticism. Change is easier said than done. Maybe, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Who knows? He leaned closer, a playful glint in his eye. "You could end up in a hot air balloon, floating above the city at dawn, sipping champagne. Or I could end up stuck in a tree," she replied, laughter bubbling forth. "Not the most glamorous end to my story." "Let's avoid trees then," he chuckled, his laughter infectious. "I promise I'll take care of you." In that moment, amid the lively chaos of the night market, Myra felt a curious warmth blossom in her chest. Caleb was an enigma, a whirlwind of charisma and confidence, yet something about him made her feel seen, valued. The tension hung in the air, thick and electric, as they continued to banter. "Cinnamon rolls," Caleb called out, sliding a plate toward her. "Now let's see if they live up to the hype." Myra took a tentative bite, the warmth of the roll melting in her mouth, sweetness dancing on her tongue. A smile broke across her face and she couldn't help but glance up at him, her eyes sparkling. "Okay, I concede. This is amazing." "Good, I've won my first battle," he said with a playful grin, leaning back slightly as if savoring the moment. "Next, you'll have to share one of your stories." Myra took another bite, pretending to consider. "If I tell you one of my stories, you have to promise to share a scandalous secret of yours in return." "Scandalous?" He leaned in closer, a conspiratorial glint in his eyes. "I like your style." "Just one scandal, Mr. Billionaire," she teased, savoring the moment. "You have to keep it real." "Deal," he said, extending his pinky. "But only if you promise to keep that cinnamon roll close. It suits you." Myra laughed, the tension between them pulsing with unspoken words. It was a simple interaction, yet in the whirlwind of the night market, it felt like the start of something monumental. As they stood there, laughter and cinnamon lingering in the air, Myra couldn't help but wonder, was this the adventure she had been waiting for? The laughter still echoed in Myra's ears as she wiped her fingers on a napkin, savoring the last remnants of the cinnamon roll. The sweet, sticky glaze clung to her fingers, and she found herself absent-mindedly licking them clean, a guilty pleasure that made Caleb chuckle beside her. "Quite the sight," he said, leaning casually against the stall as he watched her, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "You might just be the most charming graphic designer I've ever met." Myra rolled her eyes, though her cheeks flushed with warmth. "You're laying it on thick. Are you always this charming, or is it just for tonight?" "Only when I'm with captivating company," he replied, his tone smooth as honey. She raised an eyebrow, trying to mask the flutter of her heart. "Flattery gets you nowhere, Caleb." "Is that so?" He stepped a bit closer, the space between them shrinking until she could detect the faintest hint of his cologne, something earthy and warm that wrapped around her like a comforting embrace. "Then I suppose I'll have to find other ways to keep your attention." Myra's breath hitched slightly and she took a step back, shaking her head to dispel the sudden rush of warmth. "Fine. Let's get back to our deal. I told you I'd share a story if you promised a scandal." "Ah, yes. A fair trade indeed." Caleb's expression shifted to one of mock seriousness. "My life is a minefield of scandal, but I'll go easy on you tonight. Let's see. There was this one time at a charity gala in Monaco." Myra leaned in, her curiosity piqued. "Go on." "Picture this. An extravagant ballroom, glittering chandeliers, and a sea of tuxedos and gowns gliding across the marble floor. I was there on business, of course, but the allure of the event was too enticing." He paused, his smile widening. "And then, amidst the glamour, I spotted a familiar face in the crowd, a former flame from my college days. Let's just say our reunion was unexpected." Myra found herself hanging on his every word, the way he recounted the tale with vivid detail, painting a picture that was almost cinematic. "What happened next?" she urged, leaning forward, her intrigue palpable. "Oh, it gets better." I approached her, thinking we'd share a friendly conversation, but one thing led to another, and before I knew it, we were caught in a game of champagne-fueled flirtation, he said, his eyes sparkling with mischief. 3 glasses later, we found ourselves locked in a very public kiss right in the middle of the dance floor, much to the shock of the crowd. Myra couldn't help but laugh, the sound free and light against the backdrop of the bustling market. "You're telling me you made a scene at a charity gala?" "Guilty as charged." He shrugged, a roguish grin plastered across his face. "But let's just say it was a scandal that raised a few eyebrows, and some funds for charity too, I believe." "You're quite the troublemaker, aren't you?" Myra replied, a teasing note in her voice. "But I guess that comes with the territory of being a billionaire." "Touché." Caleb straightened slightly, the teasing air fading for a moment as he regarded her. "But enough about me, your turn. What's the most scandalous thing you've done?" Myra hesitated, the words catching in her throat. She had always been the sensible one, the steady rock in a turbulent world. But in this moment, something inside her urged her to break free of her usual restraint. "Okay, but don't judge me too harshly. I once showed up to a job interview for a design position in a ball gown." Caleb's eyebrows shot up, surprise flickering in his expression. "A ball gown? Now that's bold. What led to such a daring choice?" With a nervous laugh, she recounted the tale of her best friend's wedding, the elaborate dress she had picked out, and how it felt like a slice of a fairy tale. "I thought I could carry the whimsy into the interview, you know. Walk in like I own the place." "And how did that go?" Caleb asked, his voice low, genuine curiosity lacing his tone. Myra felt the embarrassment creeping back. "Let's just say it didn't go as planned. I was underdressed for an office full of professionals in smart suits and blouses, but I made them laugh at least. They complimented my risk-taking nature. "See, that's an adventure in itself," he said, his eyes glimmering with appreciation. "You embrace life in your own way, it's refreshing." She met his gaze, and for a moment the world around them faded. The laughter, the chatter of patrons, the sizzling food stalls. It was just the two of them, a magnetic connection shimmering in the space between. "Maybe I need more adventures," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But they're scary." "Scary often means they're worthwhile," Caleb replied, his voice sincere. "Life is about stepping out of your comfort zone. You know, this market is a perfect example. You came here seeking whimsy, and you found something even more unexpected." Myra felt a mix of exhilaration and trepidation at his words, the depth of what they meant wrapping around her heart like a delicate thread. "What if I want to take bigger risks, but I feel too cautious?" Caleb tilted his head, contemplating her. "Then let me help you. Next time, instead of a cinnamon roll, we could try food from a different country. Or maybe you'll join me on a weekend adventure, like that hot air balloon I mentioned earlier." She couldn't help but smile, caught between playful banter and the earnestness of his offer. "A hot air balloon? You're serious?" "Absolutely. Life's too short to stay grounded," he said, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "And I promise I won't let you get stuck in a tree." Myra laughed, feeling the tension morph into something lighter, more exhilarating. "Okay, I'll consider it, but only if you promise to take me somewhere that involves a little less risk of falling." Caleb extended his hand again, this time a gesture of partnership rather than a playful challenge. "Deal, but only if you bring a piece of your art to share. I want to see the world through your eyes." Myra's heart swelled at the sincerity beneath his words. "That sounds like a fair trade, Mr. Billionaire." "Call me Caleb. We're friends now," he replied, a genuine warmth enveloping his tone. "Friends," she echoed, feeling the weight of the word settle between them, both light and profound. As the night wore on, they wandered through the market, weaving between stalls of exotic spices, vibrant textiles, and trinkets that spoke of far-off lands. Caleb's laughter mingled with hers, their connection deepening with every shared glance and quip, transforming the simple chaos of the night into something magical. Myra felt herself opening up in ways she had never anticipated, sharing snippets of her life, her dreams, her fears, the art she created. And in turn, Caleb shared stories of his own, revealing layers to his character that felt authentic and genuine, veiling the billionaire persona in something deeper. As they paused at a stall selling handcrafted pottery, Caleb picked up a delicate vase, its intricate designs catching the light. "This would look perfect in your studio," he said thoughtfully. "Maybe, but I can't afford pottery like that," she replied, a hint of sadness creeping into her voice. "Does it have to be about money?" he asked, turning the vase in his hands. "Sometimes it's about finding beauty in unexpected places. You create art, Myra. You see the world through your own lens. Don't you think you're worth more than the price tag of a vase?" His words struck a chord, echoing the very sentiments she often sought to convey through her own art. "I guess so," she said, her voice softening. As they stood there, the night enveloping them in a cocoon of warmth, the spark of something unspoken flickered between them. It was a blend of camaraderie, attraction, and the dawning realization that this night was shifting something within her, a gentle push toward embracing the unknown. "Thank you for tonight," she said quietly, her heart pounding beneath the surface. "Thank you for embracing it," Caleb replied, his gaze steady and sincere. "I can't help but think this is just the beginning." She smiled, a mix of excitement and uncertainty swirling within her. Maybe it is. As they wandered through the vibrant stalls, the air electric with possibility, Myra felt alive in a way she hadn't felt in years. The night market, once a chaotic escape, had become a tapestry of connection and adventure, each moment woven together by laughter, stories, and the promise of more to come. And as she looked at Caleb, she realized that perhaps the adventure she had been waiting for had already begun. The night market pulsed like a living entity, the sounds of laughter and music weaving through the air, creating a symphony of life that wrapped around Myra and Caleb. As they strolled side by side, the vibrant colors of the stalls blurred into a kaleidoscope, but it was Caleb's presence that held her focus. Each step felt charged with energy, like they were wandering into uncharted territory together. "So, what's next on our adventure list?" Caleb asked, his tone light yet filled with genuine curiosity. He leaned slightly closer, as if the question was a secret just between them. Myra glanced up at him, the twinkle in his eyes making her stomach flutter. "I'm not sure. I didn't come prepared for an adventure of this magnitude." She paused, biting her lip as a playful smirk tugged at the corners of her mouth. "You're the one guiding me into the unknown, remember?" "Ah, yes, it's all on me then." He chuckled, running a hand through his tousled hair. "Let's see. How about we find a stall selling something unusual? We could try some bizarre food from somewhere exotic." "Bizarre as in?" She raised an eyebrow, the spark of adventure igniting within her. Caleb's eyes glinted mischief. "I once had fried crickets at a market in Thailand. Surprisingly crunchy, definitely worth trying if you're feeling brave." "Fried crickets," she echoed, her expression a mix of amusement and apprehension. "I think I'll pass on that one. How about something a bit more traditional?" "Fair enough." He feigned a thoughtful expression, tapping his chin dramatically. "How about we find a dessert that's not cinnamon rolls? Something that captures the sweetness of the night." "Are we back to food again? Are you trying to fatten me up?" she teased, nudging his side playfully. "Considering the amount of laughter you've brought tonight, I think dessert is just the icing on the cake." He winked, and for a heartbeat, the air thickened, the chemistry between them palpable. They wandered deeper into the market, passing stalls adorned with handmade crafts and colorful fabrics. The scent of sweet fried dough wafted through the air, and Myra's stomach growled in response. "Okay, I could go for something that doesn't involve insects." "Then let's find the best pastry stand," Caleb exclaimed, his enthusiasm contagious. As they rounded a corner, they stumbled upon a stall draped in fairy lights, showcasing an array of pastries that sparkled under the glow. The vendor, an older woman with a warm smile, beckoned them closer. "Welcome, you must try my baklava, it's famous in these parts," she said, her voice rich with warmth. Myra's eyes widened at the golden layers of flaky pastry drenched in honey and nuts. "That looks incredible." Caleb leaned in closer, his shoulder brushing against hers. "One baklava, please," he said, giving the vendor a charming smile that lit up the woman's face. As she prepared the dessert, Caleb turned to Myra, a playful glint in his eyes. "You ready to indulge?" "Only if you promise to share half," Myra replied, an impish smile breaking through. "Deal." He held out his hand to seal their agreement, and Myra couldn't help but laugh at the childlike sincerity in his demeanor. When the vendor handed them the baklava, Caleb took a large piece, handing the larger half to Myra. "Ladies first, of course," he said with mock gallantry. "Such a gentleman," she said sarcastically, but her heart warmed at the gesture. "But I don't want to derail your noble act of sharing." "Just remember, the next outrageous adventure is on you," he replied, taking a generous bite of his half, eyes glazing over in bliss as he savored the flavors. Now that's a slice of heaven." Myra took a bite of her own, the sweetness exploding in her mouth, layers of flavor dancing together. "Okay, this is definitely worth every calorie," she conceded, her eyes sparkling. Caleb watched her intently, an amused smile playing on his lips. You know, you have a knack for making even simple moments seem special. What do you mean? She asked, feeling a heat rise in her cheeks under his gaze. Your laughter, your passion, there's this spark about you. It's infectious. He paused, his voice lowering slightly. It's like you see the world through a lens that's purely your own and it draws people in. Myra shifted, suddenly aware of the intimacy of the moment, the way his gaze held hers with such intensity. I guess I try to find beauty in the mundane, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Trust me, it's working, he said softly, his eyes lingering on her lips as she finished the last bite. So, what else do you find beautiful? Myra hesitated, her heart racing. This felt deeper than just small talk. It was an invitation to share a part of herself that she often kept hidden. I love art, obviously, she began, her voice steadier. Creating something from nothing is exhilarating, but it's more than that. It's the stories behind the art, the emotions that shape every stroke and color. I'm always searching for stories, for connections. Caleb nodded, genuinely engaged. And have you found those stories in your life? Some, yes, but it feels like I'm still searching for something more, you know. I want to experience everything, not just through my art, but in life. She looked at him, her heart pounding. Like tonight. It's not just about the market or the food, it's about us. It feels different. It is different, he said, his voice low, almost reverent. And I can't help but feel drawn to you, Myra. There's something raw and real about you. Myra pressed her lips together, her pulse racing at the implications of his words. Isn't that a dangerous game, Caleb? Talking about feelings amidst pastries and laughter. Dangerous can be exciting, he countered, his gaze unwavering. Life is all about taking risks and embracing the unknown. Isn't that what we're doing tonight? She searched his eyes, finding sincerity that made her heart flutter. I suppose you have a point, she admitted, feeling emboldened by his presence. But isn't it also terrifying? Terrifying can be exhilarating. He stepped closer, the warmth between them intensifying. I'd argue that the most beautiful moments in life often come from the scariest choices. Myra felt a thrill run through her. You're quite the philosopher for a billionaire. Caleb chuckled softly. Life has taught me a thing or two, but it's people like you who remind me of the beauty in it all. Just then, a nearby street performer began playing a lively tune, and the atmosphere shifted into a bubbling anticipation. Caleb's face lit up. Dance with me. Right here, in the middle of the market. Why not? He said, extending his hand, the challenge dancing in his eyes. Let's seize the moment. Myra bit her lip, her heart racing with both excitement and nerves. But in that instant, she felt the pull of adventure again, the urge to embrace something new. Okay, but no stepping on my toes. With a playful laugh, she took his hand, and he pulled her into the throng of people dancing under the twinkling lights. The music flowed through her, igniting a spark of spontaneity. She felt alive, the rhythm matching the heartbeat of the night. As they moved together, their laughter mingled with the music, and she surrendered to the moment. Caleb twirled her, and she spun gracefully beneath the stars, the world around them fading until it was just the two of them in their small universe. She could see the joy in his eyes, the way he focused entirely on her, and it made her feel weightless. You're a natural, he exclaimed, guiding her effortlessly through the dance. I've had my fair share of awkward moves, she admitted, enjoying the freedom of the moment and the way he made her feel like she could be anything but ordinary. Awkward can be charming, he replied, his voice smooth as he pulled her closer. Their bodies brushed against one another, and the air crackled with an electric tension. I think you're more than charming, though. Myra's breath caught momentarily, the heat of his gaze sending a rush of warmth through her. And I think you're laying it on thick again, she teased, but her voice held a hint of uncertainty. "Maybe," he said, his expression turning serious as he searched her eyes. "But I'm not lying, Myra. I don't want this night to end." "Neither do I," she said softly, the moment stretching between them laden with unspoken words. As the dance slowed, they found themselves standing close, the hum of the market fading into a gentle background murmur. Caleb hesitated for a moment, his gaze flickering between her eyes and lips. "Maybe this is just the beginning of something amazing." "Maybe," she echoed, feeling the weight of possibility hanging in the air like a delicate thread. The music faded, but the magic of the moment lingered, wrapping around them like a well-worn blanket. It felt as if the stars had aligned just for them, and every heartbeat harmonized with the vibrant pulse of the night market. Caleb's attention, unwavering and intense, made Myra feel as if she were the only person in the world. "Let's find a quieter spot," he suggested, glancing around at the throngs of people swirling around them. "I'd like to hear more about your art, where you draw your inspiration from." Myra's heart raced. The way he spoke so earnestly made her feel valued, like her stories mattered. "My inspiration, it's everywhere, people, places, even the way light filters through trees in the afternoon." She tucked a stray hair behind her ear, nerves creeping in, but she pushed them aside. "I often sketch from memory, capturing moments that might otherwise be forgotten. There's something beautiful in the fleeting nature of life." Caleb nodded intently, his eyes reflecting a deep curiosity. "It's fascinating how you see the world. I wish I could tap into that perspective. It feels like you're living in a painting, and I'm just trying to find the right colors to blend in." She chuckled softly, shaking her head. "You're a billionaire, Caleb. You have every color at your disposal." "True, but even the most vibrant colors can lose their meaning if they're not connected to something real." His expression grew serious, the playful banter fading. "Tell me, what colors would you use to describe this moment? Right here, right now." Myra paused, contemplating the question. "I would say a warm gold for the lights, mixed with deep blues for the night sky," she mused, her voice softening. "And maybe a hint of lavender for the laughter that lingers in the air." Caleb's gaze held hers, something unspoken flickering in the depths of his eyes. "Those colors suit you. They reflect your spirit, warm yet mysterious." Her cheeks flushed at the compliment. The way he observed her made her feel naked yet safe at the same time. "You're quite the charmer," she replied, trying to keep her tone light, even as the atmosphere thickened with the weight of their conversation. "Only with the right muse," he shot back, his smile widening, and the momentary tension dissipated, replaced by an ease that felt like slipping into a favorite song. As they wandered deeper into the market, they found a quieter corner adorned with hanging lanterns that cast soft, flickering shadows. Caleb gestured to an empty bench nestled beneath a tree, its branches dancing in the gentle breeze. "How about here?" "Perfect," Myra agreed, settling onto the bench, the rough wood grounding her in the moment. Caleb slid onto the seat next to her, their shoulders just brushing, sending a small thrill through her. "Now tell me more about your art. Do you have a favorite piece?" he asked, leaning forward, genuine intrigue etched on his face. Myra smiled, her heart swelling with warmth as she recalled her favorite creation, a mural she painted for a local community center. It was a large-scale piece, vibrant and full of life. "I wanted to capture the essence of hope and togetherness, so I painted a mural depicting a bustling market scene, families, laughter, all the things that bring us together." Caleb's eyes sparkled with interest. "That sounds incredible. Did it feel fulfilling to see it come to life?" "It did," she admitted, her voice gaining strength as she spoke. "But there was something special about the process, the way the community came together to help. They shared stories, laughter, and even their own little sketches, and it transformed my vision into something more than just my own. See, that's the adventure of art. It's about collaboration and connection, he said, a hint of admiration in his tone. You didn't just paint a mural, you created a space for people to feel seen and heard. Myra found herself captivated by the way he saw her work, the way he understood its depth. Exactly, and it's the stories that fuel my creativity. Every brushstroke has a history, every color tells a tale. Caleb reached out, brushing his fingers against the back of her hand, his touch sending a wave of warmth through her. I'd love to see more of your art, Myra. Can I come by your studio sometime? The invitation surprised her, sending her heart racing. You want to see my studio? She echoed, unsure if she should feel flattered or anxious. Absolutely. I think it would be fascinating to see the place where you conjure your magic, he replied, his voice steady. We could share stories over coffee, maybe even sketch together. A warmth blossomed in her chest at the thought of spending more time with him, but the idea also made her nervous. You'd really want to spend time in my little corner of the world. Why not? It sounds like it could be fun, like our own little adventure, he said, his eyes glinting with mischief. And who knows, maybe I can gain some artistic insights. Or I'll just distract you with my terrible sketches, she joked, her heart fluttering at the thought of him in her space, where her art lived and breathed. I'm sure your sketches are far from terrible. Besides, I could use a little chaos in my life, he said, a hint of seriousness creeping back into his tone. Sometimes the chaos is what makes life beautiful. Myra smiled, feeling a connection deepen between them. You have a way with words, Caleb. I've been told that a time or two, he replied, his voice playful again, yet the sincerity lingered beneath. But I genuinely mean it. I want to understand your world. Her heart raced at his earnestness. Okay, let's plan for it. I'd love to show you my space. Great, I'll bring the coffee, he said, and they shared a warm laugh, the sound intertwining with the ambient music drifting through the night. As they settled into a comfortable silence, Myra found herself stealing glances at him. The way he listened, the way his eyes sparkled with an unquenchable curiosity, it was magnetic. But beneath that charisma, she sensed a deeper layer, a complexity that intrigued her. What about you? She asked, her curiosity piqued. What's the story behind the Billionaire facade? What do you do when you're not charming graphic designers at night markets? Caleb chuckled, a hint of vulnerability creeping into his voice. I run my family's tech company. We focus on innovative designs and sustainable practices, which can be rewarding but also quite demanding. It's a balancing act, really. And yes, I have my fair share of meetings in stuffy boardrooms, but I try to explore creativity in every aspect of my work. Sounds like a lot of pressure, she said, her heart going out to him. How do you cope? He looked off into the distance for a moment, contemplating her question. I find solace in adventure, he finally admitted. Whether it's traveling to a new country, attending unexpected events, or even just spending time with interesting people like you. He turned to meet her gaze, and she felt her heart flutter once more. Those moments remind me that life is about connection, not just numbers or profits. Interesting people, huh? Myra teased, nudging him playfully, trying to flatter me again. Guilty as charged, he replied, his expression lightening. But I mean it. You have this way of seeing the world that's refreshing, and it makes me want to embrace more of that spontaneity in my own life. Myra felt an unexpected thrill at his words, as if he were unraveling a part of her that had long been tucked away. That's a tall order for a guy like you, an adventurous billionaire. Why not? He challenged, leaning closer. I think life should be an adventure, regardless of the circumstances. Each day is a canvas, and we have the power to paint it however we please. Are you always this philosophical? She asked, unable to hide her amusement. Only when I'm inspired, he quipped, a mischievous glint in his eyes. And you've definitely inspired me tonight. She felt her cheeks flush again, an exhilarating mix of warmth and uncertainty coursing through her. Maybe I'm just good at distracting you from your busy life. Caleb's gaze softened, the playful banter fading into something deeper. Or maybe you're the breath of fresh air I didn't know I needed. The sincerity in his tone made her heart skip a beat. You really know how to make a girl feel special, don't you? Only the ones who deserve it, he replied, his voice low, and she felt the weight of his words settle between them, laden with meaning. Myra's breath hitched, an unspoken tension hanging in the air. It was a fragile moment, an electric charge that felt like a promise of more to come. "What if I'm not as special as you think?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Trust me, you are." He reached out, his fingers brushing the back of her hand again. "You're everything I didn't know I was looking for." The world around them faded, and in that moment everything felt